Hello and welcome to the Sports Blog on the Greater STL Sports Network. Robert Bowlesby here with you. You could tweet me at rbowlesbyjr. You can tweet the Greater STL Sports Network at Greater STLSN. You also go to the website rbowlesbyjr.wix, rbowlesbyjr314.wix.com/Greater STLXN, or if you want to do it the easy way, gstlsn.1x.net. And I had some ways I wanted to start off the show, just maybe go with some fun. Maybe I could go because the Cardinal season started. But after last night, I think there's only one thing to start talking about. Definitely, if we're going to have a little bit of a sports podcast, and that's to talk about the Blues winning the first playoff game against the Chicago Blackhawks 1-0 in overtime. And you've finally seen Brian Elliott get his chance. And he really kind of been proving himself all season. He's been injured, and you thought Jake Allen was going to be the guy. But now as he came back, he came down the stretch, and now you've seen him in this first playoff game. He has to be the guy going forward. And we can't play this two-goalie thing anymore. If he has a bad game and a slip-up, you're still going to have to give him the next game, no matter what position you're in. Hopefully you're not in a bad position as you got the first game. You're at home again for the second game, which is tomorrow night, and you got a chance to go up 2-0 at home. Now the Blues kind of play just a different game than you see most playoff teams do. They just try to rough up Chicago, and you hope during the series that they don't push it too hard with going after this physical play and all that, where they wear themselves out before they wear Chicago out. Because you could kind of tell without Duncan Keith in there and having all them defensemen playing the extra minutes that they had to play, you could kind of tell that they were wearing down a little bit. But is it going to wear down guys like Robbie Fabry? Is it going to wear down guys like maybe a Schwartz or a Stas, and you have to go in there and make sure they hit on every play to run the kind of game that Ken Hitchcock wants to play? He said he wanted 70 hits. The Blues only got 41. He wanted 70. And this isn't like any different from what the way they play. Now, I really do get tired of the dump and run. I don't understand that at all. Tarasenko only had one shot yesterday. Don't understand that at all. But somehow it works. More power to him. But is it going to work the whole series? Is it going to be where the Blues can play that physical game but yet score the goals at the same time? Because there was a lot of breakaways yesterday. A lot of turnovers in their own zone. Elliott even had a bad one and had to make a big save. But you kind of hope that maybe that goal in overtime maybe sets a whole different standard. Maybe this is a whole different Blues team. Maybe the small little changes that were made during the offseason and actually relying on one goalie to get the job done, maybe that changes your whole situation. Because what Blues fans really want, it's just maybe can we make it to the second round. And the way this playoff system is set up, it's not really giving you a great chance to go to the second round when the second place team is playing the third place team. And it's trying to make it more exciting, but it also makes it to where it's more based on what you do in the playoffs than what you do in the regular season. I mean, the Blues fought for first place all the way to the last game. And yet, now you're playing another Chicago Blackhawks team who had a chance to pass you with a few games ago. And I don't understand how it's all that fair, but that's the way it works, and that's the way we're going to have to roll. But if we're going to play this physical game, we're going to have to also play the defense behind it. Because if we're not going to try going to score, we got to at least stop them from scoring. And Brian Elliott, first career postseason shutout, 35 saves. Blackhawks 0 for 5 on the power play. A lot of that's Brian Elliott. A lot of that's good defense. A lot of block shots for both teams, 22 for Chicago, 20 for St. Louis. And that helps too. And the funny thing is the Blues kind of play in a different way, how they say things like, oh, we know Chicago blocks a lot of shots. So we're gonna, Chicago blocks a lot of shots, so we know that causes breakaways and things like that. Well, they only had two more block shots than you, and they had plenty of more breakaways. Hitchcock kind of making a smart ass comment about the hits. If you're going to play that way and you're going to play this way, you can't put it on Brian Elliott. Even though he did it last time, we're not going to say you do it every game. Now, I'm harping on something that ended up turning out being a good thing in the long run. Because maybe you did wear him down to where Backus gets that cheap goal in overtime. And not cheap goal, I don't know what he called it. A dirty goal, something like that. Something he said he's the best at. That's his way to score, is by getting them cheap, easy goals. But you're not playing the 8th place team in the West. You're playing one of the better teams in the West. So it's hard to rely upon a team that can score, and now is going to get their best defenseman back, and you're not putting pucks on the net. I mean, I think Crawford only had to make 18 saves. That's not going to work for you every game. And definitely when you're going against a goalie who was injured, that's definitely not a shot against him. He's only played one game in the last 3 weeks, and you didn't even make him work that hard. At certain times they did. Definitely when it got down to that overtime, it seemed like the Blues had a little more pep in them step. But the first two periods, I don't know if Crawford really had to make any spectacular or big saves. It was really all Brian Elliott. And maybe Brian Elliott is that guy. Maybe they really think that Brian Elliott is that guy that can be this dominant goalie that puts these teams on their back and runs them to the playoffs. I just haven't seen it yet. And you kind of was hoping that it was going to be like that the Blues were going out of stretches and scoring 4 or 5 goals a game, losing with scoring 4 or 5 goals a game at times. You were kind of hoping for that offense. But you got a 1-0 grinder out game. You're up 1-0 in the series. And all is well for now. And maybe the Blues come out different in game 2. Maybe they were trying to find something and maybe they kind of seen it. It seemed like the Blues were passing a lot, trying to figure out how to open it up a little more. Definitely towards the end. It wasn't as much dump and chase. It was more drive the puck in, try to get it back to the defenseman, let the defenseman work to try to get an open pass. And that's the kind of hockey that you want to see. But it's just not how this team plays. Definitely not the way they play to deem to be successful. And that's why they got to get rid of a skilled player like TJ Oshie and bought more of a grinder in like Brouwer. A guy that had more playoff experience because he's been on a team like Washington who consistently gets in there and wins Stanley Cups and all that. So that's why you got rid of the skilled player, because maybe you wanted to open an ice up for more for Tarasenko. Maybe you thought you had something in Fabry, or thought you were going to bring up Ty Ratty, who's more skilled players, and just kind of mix them in there. Maybe they know what Stasny is that we don't. And maybe that's why we're a little hard on him, because the money he makes, and you got your other $7 million player out there scoring 40 goals. So it's just hard to figure it out. And I understand it, because I've been trying to figure out all this season, how's this team going to play? Because it seemed like when Schwartz came back, it was all of a sudden, let's get the offense going. They slowed it back down and grinded it back into grinded out, tough play, big mode. So it just depends on how Hitchcock's going to set these lineups, where he's going to put skilled players with his other players to make this somewhat successful in the style of play they're going to play. I mean, you kept Blackhawks 0 for 5 in the power play. Even though you went 0 for 4, you still kept them 0 for 5. one of the top power play teams in the league. That's things that's going to help you win in this series. But people that don't give the credit all the time to the penalty killing units, and when we actually do play good defense, and when there's a hard rush and the block shots and Elliott getting out there, you don't always hear about them guys. You usually want the two-way players like Colton Partanko, who's one of the best plus minuses in the league, best on the Blues, and that's a guy you're going to hear about more. Instead of a guy more like Jay Bouwmeester, who's not really an offensive guy. He slacks it on defense every now and then, but he is one of your better defensive players, and that's why he plays so many minutes. So there's a lot more to it than meets the eye of how a team can play well and get to the point that the Blues are at, or get to winning the first round game. And just more credit has to be going to Brian Elliott, and people have to see that he's now the number one goalie, and that he can be a number one goalie. And people are still, even with all the awards he won, winning the best goaltender league in the game, having one of the best goals, people still don't think that he's a number one goalie. And I think it's just because the two-way play, you really never got the playoff series goalie that you wanted in Halak or Miller or anybody in between. And how, since we traded so many times to disperse Elliott, we kind of had that feeling that maybe now we don't all of a sudden believe in Elliott because now it's playoff time and we've had trouble at the goaltending position. But I think he's proven himself all season, and now he proved himself last night that he can be that number one, that he can put a team on his back, that he can go out there and be one of them goaltenders that win the game for you, and to give you a chance to win in an overtime game 0-0. I mean, there's not many other times that you would have thought that that was going to be a 1-0 game. Even Hitchcock said that should have been a 6-5 game. And if you look at it, you would have thought that the Blackhawks were dominating the whole game, but yet the Blues snuck in there and didn't let them score, took them out in the power play, and wore them down to where you get the overtime goal from Backus. But you got to worry about game two because you didn't have the offense. What if Chicago figured out something that knocks your offense more than it was? Because if you notice, just like last year with the Wild did, they're doubling down on Tarasenko. So someone else has to start making plays. You can't play the passing game anymore. You have to play some offense. But what if they see something in your defense to where they can pick up on that, and having that top defender in Keith and they can pick up on that, and this leads to bad things for the Blues. Because it was just scary how little offense you've had. And if they can figure out a way to make it less, that's scary. And if they can figure out a way to get around them hits, that's going to lead to breakaways. If they can figure out how to capitalize on the mistakes that the Blues make, which seems to be every game on the defense. There's just so many variables already, and you only have to worry about it just because of what has happened throughout the years with the Blues losing in the first round, whether it's to the Blackhawks or whether it's to Minnesota. And we didn't get the offense that we wanted. And they were a little worried with the defense and the turnovers and things like that. And that's things we're going to worry about. But let's give him a chance. Brian Elliott, Robbie Fabry played great in the game. He seemed like a whole different player. He was out there checking. He was all over the place. He seemed like a whole different player. And maybe that we just got to maybe just give in a little bit. Because I don't see no reason that Elliott can't do that again. Maybe not as good. Maybe not the whole 35 saves and making the saves he had to make and stopping the breakaways. But I don't see why he couldn't come out and have another shot in game 2. I don't see why the Blues couldn't figure out a way to open up the offense like they have in the past this season. Definitely with everybody healthy. I mean, this is the first time all season that this team's been healthy. And you're sitting guys in the bench that were starters when they were healthy. You also got Yaskin on the bench. You got Priority on the bench. You got Bertuzzo on the bench. So not only is everybody healthy, but it seems like there's depth there. Something you haven't had in the past. Something you've never thought that you've had. It always seemed like we had the older, scrappy veteran, which we've had somehow throughout the seasons during injuries. Scott Gomez. I think it's Marcus Hablett was here for a game or two. A guy like Scotty Upshaw's been on the roster the whole season. But now there's some young guys there that kind of have some promise and have showed you things. I mean, you got a rookie that almost had 20 goals in February. You got Tarasenko. Schwartz is healthy. You got a guy like Petrenko that can go to the back end and make a play. So I don't see why it couldn't be different for the Blues. But I understand why it could just be the same. It's not like you're playing like a Tampa Bay who doesn't really have their top guy, but they got some other scorers, Tyler Johnson. But you're playing a team with Posa and Kane and Taves, and I can't remember the rookie's name from last night that looked phenomenal. So the defensive struggles for the Blues could lead to what we've seen in the past, and I understand where we can all see that at. But the way they played last night, definitely towards the end of the game, looked like a whole different team. And with the Blues, they do things in certain situations also that most teams don't do win face-offs when they're on the penalty kill. Won 54% of the face-offs last night. So it just seems like there's certain teams, Steen, I don't remember him ever playing center, and he's out there winning face-offs. So there's also little variables like that you can look at and say, wow, this is maybe a different team. I mean, if you're going to go out there and face offs, that means you're going to have control of the puck. Whether you're on the power play or whether you're on the penalty kill, that's good either way. If you're on the penalty kill, you're shooting it down the ice. There's an extra 10 to 15 seconds that's wasted off the penalty kill. You win face-offs in your zone, that stops an offensive opportunity. You win face-offs in your opponent's zone, that gains you an offensive opportunity. But you just worry about, is the offense good enough? Even though we win on the faceoffs, are we going to be able to get them shots in? If we're taking control of the puck, are we turning it over or giving it up or not getting to the front of the net because guys like a Duncan Keith are back there and blocking shots and have maybe found something that we didn't know they could see. We didn't know that it was going to work against them. But I think with this whole series, if we stick with Brian Elliott, that's going to give the team a little more motivation, knowing who's back there, knowing that he can do the job, knowing that we're going to let him do the job. And maybe a little less of that dump and run, and maybe actually get the puck in the zone and try to get something going. Maybe don't Always try to get the puck to Tarasenko, which Tarasenko seemed a little antsy passing last night. Trying to make plays, and I understand he's the playmaker. He sees the double team. He's going to try to make plays. But you want that guy with the puck. And maybe that's what they did at practice today. And maybe you let some other guys shoot. Maybe you have a little Edmondson shoot a little more from the back. Maybe you have a guy like Brouwer, who we know could score a little bit. Maybe even a little more on that fourth line, which I know that fourth line decides going out there and just banging it out with everybody. That's kind of like their thing. And that sets a good thing for the Blues, having four lines that you can trust out there. Even if you know that one's not going to score, they're at least going to go out there and give it to the opponent and wear down the opponent. And that's going to wear down a team when you're getting your guys fresh in with four lines, with 9 capable guys to go out there and get the job done. And maybe that's just the way to go, is just to wear Chicago down, wear the goal scorers down, wear their defense down. Because you do have a goaltender that's injured. You don't really know how healthy he is, only playing that one game, and not only playing this one game. So 2 games in 3 weeks. So if you can get to that goaltender after you wear their defensive down, maybe it's a whole different story, and maybe that's what it's going to be for the first 2 or 3 games, that the Blues are going to play a more laid-back offensive style, but going to try to make sure they play good defense, even though it hasn't been the strong suit. And then by games 4 and 5, you just come with the offensive onslaught. Maybe you switch lineups up. Maybe you throw a little Reeves in there. Maybe you think could score a little better. Maybe you actually throw Yaskin out on the 4th line, a guy that could score. And maybe you counteract that by maybe taking out one of the defensive guys, like an Edmondson or somebody like that, and put a guy like Bertuzzo in there. And that's the great thing about having depth, is you can think about them things. That your top 9 can always change on the 4 lines. That your top 6 can always change on the defense. And it's not a downfall. Maybe in some cases, most people think that maybe even it's a step up with having Bertuzzo in there. And I'm really on the Bertuzzo train after seeing him get his chance. I'm kind of on the Tyretti train too, but I just guess he just isn't playing the system that they want him to play, or he's in the doghouse with Konechkak, which you know can happen with players. Or maybe they just think that Yaskin and Fabry are that much, or Payarvi are that much better than him, or just they may just want to give him an 81 game shot and haven't found a place for him. And maybe they don't think the 4th line is that place, because he's not going to get the minutes. He's not going to get the chance to show what he can do. And I guess he could have came up with Schwartz, which he did a little bit. There was a time when Steen was out and he came up for a little bit. But maybe they don't think that's his role. Maybe they think that he needs a bigger role. Maybe as we see some contracts get let go this season, a guy like David Backes, maybe he comes up and get his shot. But it's something not to worry about right now when you're in the playoffs and you're already there. But that's what I'm getting at, is the depth is just a big key in there. Because if a player gets injured, or you could change your lineups, like I said. Because that could really bode well into wearing another team out, where you get that chance to wear them out, now you get that chance to score. And hopefully that's what we see of the Blues. Game 2 is tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. And it's at the Scott Trade Center, so we'll see what the Blues do tomorrow night. Now we're going to take a break. Come right back, talk to Cardinals right here on the Sports Blog, Better STL Sports Network. Hello and welcome back to the Sports Blog on the Greater STL Sports Network. Robert Bowlesby here with you. Tweet me, @BowlesbyJR. Tweet the Greater STL Sports Network, Greater STLSN. And what a difference 6 games make after the start of the season for the Cardinals. And yeah, you have hit some run good. You're going to hit it for another 3 games coming up tomorrow. And it was kind of like the sports gods kind of rained down on me, even though I didn't do it till late at night. But Cardinal game was over. The Blues don't play tomorrow. Easy way to do my show after not doing it for a couple weeks. But after what you've seen at Pittsburgh and Tommy Pham getting injured off the bat, now you've lost who you thought was going to play left field when you could get Holiday in at first versus a left-hander because your 2 first basemen are left-handers in Moss and Adams. Your pitching wasn't all that great. You struck out, I think it was 31 times in 3 games. Randall Gierchik was already getting benched. Colt Wall was already getting benched. Jed Jerko couldn't figure out playing shortstop. Neither Colt and Wall could play second base. It seemed like you were already lost 3 games in the season. But now you go to Atlanta. You come back home. Start the opening day. And you get a team like Milwaukee, which are 2 bad teams, both trying. Atlanta for sure trying to take. I don't know really. Milwaukee sent a letter out to their fans, their season ticket holders, saying, "Hey, this is a rebuilding year. Kind of work with us." And now after losing 3, you're 5-4. And the young kids, again, somehow, some way, there was an article I was reading today just for some fun that said this guy said he could go to the Cardinals and come up today and go 5 for 5 with a home run and 5 RBIs. But you bring up a guy like Diaz, who they paid $2 million a year, $8 million over 4 years, to kind of be the replacement. I guess to Peralta in the long run, to kind of be that guy short, maybe move Peralta to third by now, which I desperately wanted to do during the offseason anyways, like get a guy like Ian Desmond, who goes out there, could play third, could play anywhere if you really needed him to, but a guy if Peralta was healthy, that Peralta could move to third. You move Carpenter around. If you wanted Holiday at first, there's no reason the Carpenter couldn't play the outfield. He's played it before. You've seen him at second. I don't think there's any way that he couldn't play the outfield. And you would have had something going. But you wouldn't even need that now. It all goes full circle. Someone gets injured, you call somebody up. You call a guy that's been in the minors with the Yankees, with the Red Sox and the Dodgers. You had him in Double A at first last year. You bring him up to Triple A. Both leagues he has 20 home runs. I couldn't even remember his name. Just remember he did good at spring training in the last podcast. I said Carlos. I can't remember his name, but his name's Carlos Pinheiro. And then you had Jeremy Hazelbeck. 41, 3 home runs coming up. Had a pitch hit home run. Hit a home run today in the game. Diaz come up, hit a 409. So I got my replacement at short at least. It was almost Ruben Tejada, but now you got Diaz, and I hope that Diaz gets his chance. I know what the Cardinals want to do with their players. They want to make sure they mature in the minor leagues and all that. But sometimes you just got to get over that. And it's not like they really did it with Waka. Maybe smooth out Martinez a little bit, but there's other guys they didn't do it with. So why can't you do it with Diaz? And I hope they do it. And I know you would have to do some other moving around. Maybe Hazelbaker doesn't get to play unless he's hitting like he's hitting. And that's something we don't have to worry about because Peralta's not here for another month. Tejada's coming back. I don't know what they're going to do. I guess it's going to have to be between Greg Garcia and maybe a pitcher, maybe Mike Bowman, maybe Matt Adams, maybe Matt Adams. I can't really see where he would go. I'm guessing Greg Garcia. And even though you've hit into this, if you got into this little streak where you've been hitting against bad teams, it ain't like your pitching's been so bad either. And yeah, you're playing bad teams, but there's guys in Milwaukee's lineup you would have. There's a couple guys in Atlanta's lineup you would like to have. But your worst 3 ERAs on the team are Leak, Manus, Wainwright, from bottom to top. That's your worst 3 ERAs on the team. Yet Jaime got thrown out of a shutout today. Waka pitched good the other night after having a bad start. You're going to see what Carlos has, obviously, tomorrow. But his first start wasn't all that bad. So you still got the pitching there. I mean, Matheny's still doing dumb things, like put your original thought on a tie game in the ninth. It's like, it's the ninth inning. Rosie has to come in. In that situation, that right, a guy like Tyler Lyons isn't out there. I mean, somebody that if you get to the situation where you're going farther than that, or you really want to change pitchers again and move the lineup around again after you already moved a pitcher to third, or I guess you could have. That would actually been a smart thing to do. But then you're moving around your infield. It's just something that it's in his head, and he can't get it out that he has to do certain things. I mean, his love and fascination with throwing Manus, Rosenthal, and Seagrass is beyond me. I don't get it. I really don't understand it at times. But I'm glad that the lineup has actually fell into where Matheny's kind of giving in to actually not having all the favorites. Hey, if I got to play Holiday at first and have Hazelbaker out there, I'm going to have Hazelbaker out there. Yeah, bitch, Skretchik. He's coming back around. I got to have him out there. He's even put Jerko in for Wong. Something he thought I'd never see, but they kind of obviously thought something that they were going to do something with that by getting Jerko in the first place. So there's this little things here that you just think wouldn't happen that has happened. Even though he has made bad decisions, he has actually gone with the young guys. Hazelbaker batting second, even though Diaz is still batting eighth. I think they kind of want to put that speed down there in front of the pitcher, blah, blah. They have been letting their pitchers hit. Jaime with 2 hits today. I can't remember who it was the other day that they had bunt, so his hand down and got a hit. Might have been Jaime when he got the RBI a couple weeks ago. I don't exactly remember. But you can't just blame everything. You got to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat, and that's what the Cardinals are doing. And they've done it in a bunch of different ways. They've lost games in different ways so far, but they've won in a bunch of different ways. 7 for 14 for pitch hit home runs so far this season. Batting .500 for pitch hitters. That's even with Adams struggling like he is. Colton Wong's even had a pitch hit. But you know these guys like Hazelbaker or Diaz are going to slide down and find that happy median. But you hope you can keep it going because even if you get a guy like Tommy Pham back, you don't know what he's going to do from injury. If you give a guy like Tayada back, do you really know what he's going to do for coming off an injury? Even Peralta. Well, I think that maybe he'd either go to third or first. And you still get the bat for Hazelbaker. You still have ways to move people around. Holiday at first, have Hazelbaker out there and left, or spell for Gertrick, or spell for Frascati. Both right-handed batters. So there's always different ways of doing things to make it work. And the Cardinals are usually pretty good at doing that. That was the reason they got Jerko to spell wrong, and also at times get Peralta up there. And he can also play first. He can also play third, most likely. So there's always, defensive switches at the end of games, maybe the end of when you're up 10-0. You throw Jerko in a third to get Carpenter a break. or it's short or second or holiday at first or wherever you want to do it. So there's ways to get other people at bats, even if certain people that come back have to be in the lineup. Now, guys like Tommy Pham, Maru Machado, I don't see how they get them at bats because of the guys that stepped up in Hazelbaker and Diaz. But you just can't look at the lineup and just say it's all them. Yachty hit 324. Grichuk started off one of, I think, 18 and 4 of his last day. I think they said he was 5 for 22. They said 4 of his last day and 5 for 22. Well, I think we just stick with the 4 of his last day. But he hit a home run today. You got a guy like Holiday that's maybe not showing a home run power, but he's out there hitting doubles. Cardinals with 22 doubles in the season. So even though you had the 31 strikeouts against good pitching, you've now come in here and you've hit the left-handers, which is always a problem with the Cardinals. I think Hazelbaker's home run was off a left-hander today, and he's left-handed, so far showing he can hit left and right-handers. So it's not like that every left-hander can get us out, but you're going to hit it when you hit a guy like Francisco Liriano. Them kind of things are going to happen. There's good pitchers in this league. There's also bad ones. The guy you got today was good a couple years ago, and all of a sudden he can't pitch. I don't really know like the greatness of Matt Garza, but he's injured, so you kind of miss him in this series. But usually these guys that you don't know are usually the guys that sting the Cardinals, whether they're on the Brewers or whether they're on the Los Angeles Dodgers. But get these games in now because I mean it doesn't get any worse really. You hit the Cubs for a little bit, then you go to San Diego. So get all these games early in the season. Definitely while you can, while these guys are like Hazelbaker and Diaz are hot. Because hopefully a guy like Carpenter raises his average up a little bit. Hopefully Wong starts hitting. Hopefully you get some of your bench guys to start hitting. You know, Moss had a pitch hit home run last night. So get these games in now while these players are hot, because they're going to plateau, and then we're going to be like, oh, what happened to Hazelbaker? He sucks now. Put back in Tommy Pham, or go get the guy from AAA, whoever, Pinheiro. Diaz, same thing. It's going to happen definitely in St. Louis. It's going to happen where people are going to go crazy once Hazelbaker's batting 100 over a 10 or 15 game stretch, where Diaz is batting, doing the same thing, where they make a couple errors, where they weren't making errors. Maybe Hazelbaker, who likes to run, gets thrown out 3 or 4 times in a row. So those things are going to happen where these players are going to plateau, and hopefully the other players step up in those situations. But I'm going to guarantee you when you look at the pitching too, that your last 3 ERAs are not going to be Leake and Wainwright. They're not going to be in that bottom 3. Maybe Manis might be down there. But I see more like a Matt Bowman maybe down there more than I see Adam Wainwright or Mike Leake. So I mean, it's always going to turn around to where, hey, the pitching's going to be good for a long stretch and the hitting's going to be bad, or the hitting's going to be good or better like they are now, a little bit better than the pitching. But the pitching's not going to be as good. But you need to help while you can, because this is going to be a hard season, definitely when you got two top teams in the NL in your division with Pittsburgh and Chicago. Now the Reds are slowing down a little bit, but you got them next, and they started off hot, and they still got good hitters in their lineup. And you still have in NL, you still have to play teams like the Dodgers. You still have to play the world champions and the Royals in interleague play. So be ready for a difficult season in the long run, even if we are winning, even if we are sticking around 500. Because that's the position that we're in right now, with having a team like the Pirates and having a team like Chicago. they're getting hot at the same time while we've been on our long run. And now guys that we've been on that 10-year run with are starting to get older in Yachty and Matt Holliday. But they're still going to play because they're top players. But it's just not going to be the same. And definitely with the good hitters. McCutcheon and Polanco and Marte. And so Fernando Cesarilli eats us up. And with the Cubs, they still got Hayward and Solar, and Schwarber's hurt now, but Rizzo, Chris Bryant. So the pitching's going to look bad at sometimes, and so is the hitting. And hopefully the Cardinals hover for a lot of times, and when we get to these bad teams, this is where we eat. So it could be a long season. It could not be. Cardinals up tomorrow against the Reds. And we'll see if what the Reds really are or what the Reds really aren't. If they're the team that they start out the season or if they're the team that's played against the Chicago Cubs for the last few days. All right, we're going to take a break or come back. Hometown rundown and all that next on the Sports Blog, Better STL Sports Network. Hello and welcome back to the Sports Blog on the Greater STL Sports Network. Robert Bowlesby here with you. Tweet me, RBowlesbyJR. Tweet the Greater STL Sports Network, Greater STLSN. Alright, let's get into the hometown rundown. Since we last talked, the River City Raiders have played 2 games. Played on April 3rd. They played at home against the Cincinnati Bulldogs. They ran a record of 3-0, winning the game 81-14 at the Family Arena. 81 points. That would have been a fun game to go to. I've been thinking about hitting up another River City Raiders game. It was fun. So was the ambush game even there. But, just don't do as much. Definitely on the weekends. Kind of the times when they're going on. There's always something going on. But anyways, in 81-14 win, Taron Austin, quarterback, accounted for 3 total touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing, both passing touchdowns to Andre Jackson, who also had a kick return TD. Running back Tyler Bates had 5 rushing TDs in the game. The defense also got involved in scoring with Patrick Wells having 2 interceptions for touchdowns, Brian Lowerly having 1. They also played April 9th, losing on the road to the Michigan Ironman 65-49 for the first loss of the season. Well, there wasn't much in this game as there was on the other game. But what I found, the Ironman scored 6:55 in the first quarter. Raiders got it close. That's 55-41 to start the fourth. Still lost the game. The next Raiders game is dubbed the Slam Stand game, and it's at home. As they're going trying to get some publicity going with the commercial for the Brown and Cooper thing, the Slam Stand. That game's going to be April 23rd at the Family Arena against the Chicago Blitz. They've been really good at home this season. 75 points in one game, 81 in this last game. And it's football. Now they're going to have some fun going to Stan Kroenke. They give out free tickets online if you go to their Facebook page. So just something different to do, some football at least. At least it's something to kind of get the blood flowing to watch some football. And we'll move on as the St. Louis FC played on the road, losing to the LX Galaxy. And that was on March 30th, and I didn't know if I covered that game. They lost 3-0. I think I might have covered it because I did that show kind of late too, but couldn't really remember. They also played again on the road April 2nd, earning their first win against the Orange County Blues, 3-1. Rookie Vince Cincinnati scored his first 2 career professional goals. Jace Newsom netted the other goal in the 33rd minute to tie the game. Goalie Riley Thompson made 4 saves on 5 shots. FC played again April 9th, their 4th consecutive road game, tying the Oklahoma Energy 2-2. Vince Cincinnati scored again, a tie in the 23rd minute to make it 1-1. Sam Fink gave FC the lead 2-1 in the 36th minute, but a goal for the Oklahoma City Energy in the 60th made it 2-2. Mark Pius made 2 saves in the tie game. St. Louis FC records now 1-2-1. Their next game is at home as they make their home debut at Worldwide Technology Park April 16th against the Tulsa Red Roughnecks. I knew I was going to do that too when I seen it. I knew I was going to say the Tulsa Rednecks as soon as I seen it. And this, we're going to end the show. Weird news, just because I have something funny to talk about. I was going to talk about it at the beginning of the show, but you had the Blues playoffs. You had to talk about the Blues playoffs. Tomorrow night, watch it again. But how about Golden State beating the Bulls record? I don't know if they were as good as the Bulls, because you had a defensive player of the year in Scottie Pippen, and you had the best player of the game in Michael Jordan. But I don't see why they couldn't give him a run. They don't really play that style that the NBA used to play back in the day, where you also had the big man doing work. The Bulls did play a kind of different style, having Tony Kukoc, one of the bigger men that could shoot. But you still had Luke Longley down there. I know that the Clippers have Draymond Green, but it'd be a fun game to watch. And 73 wins in 82 games, that's ridiculous. I don't know if anybody's like ever done that like on an NBA game where like not playing on like easy or anything. Like if everybody's actually like sat there and played a whole season and could have had the best 5 players that they wanted and went 73-9 on a video game. This happened in real life. I mean, it basically happened twice: 72-10, 73-9. Almost impossible to do. Like you would never almost. I mean, the closest you've seen that in baseball was the Mariners. I don't know where the closest you could have seen it in hockey. But I don't think the winning percentages are probably anywhere near close to what Golden State's was. And I think that's the only thing they don't have to worry about is if Cleveland can get it together. And you got a guy like Kyrie Irving and a guy like Kevin Love, and then the best player in the game right now, which is debatable, is LeBron James. If they all three get going in the playoffs, I mean, I think they actually have a shot against Golden State. Because I don't think LeBron's just going to let Steph Curry run all around and let him score at will. So I think the Hood is end up going to guard him. Because that is his team, whether he wants to say it or not. Because he got the coach fired to get the coach he wanted it, because he could probably tell that coach what to do, and Tyronn Lue. So if they get together, they might actually have a chance. Kobe Bryant ended his career last night, and he tried to shoot as many shots as he scored, but hey, he scored 60. The guy's retired. He's played as long as he has. Scored 60 last night. 22 or 50. And they basically let him take over the game and just said, hey, this is your game. Do what you do, Kobe. And hey, that's cool. Let him go out how he wanted to go out. If he wants to go out, being the Black Mamba and just shooting all over the place. And 22 of 50 is almost 50%. There's not many NBA players that shoot 50% anymore. That's close enough for me. Let them go out there and score 60. It was kind of cool to see that. They did the tributes. Everybody was there to watch it. But to see they let him just go out there and just let him basically just run the show, because they weren't going nowhere. They're playing another team that probably won't go nowhere. Them guys from the Jazz are probably loving it, actually, getting to go out there and getting to go Kobe for the last time. So it's kind of funny that you see that kind of stuff happen. It's also kind of funny what he did. Nick Young gave him some Adidas sneakers to sign. Well, as you know, Kobe's a Nike client. Threw Nick Young's sneakers in the trash and said, no, I'm not signing that. But he didn't end up signing a scorecard for him. Something they said he was going to put away. Now, something I didn't talk about before we move on from the NBA is, how about that Mizzou guy, Jordan Clarkson, pulling one of the Jenners? I guess it'd be good to be Mizzou made. Hey, he got to play in Kobe's last game, got to play the whole season with Kobe. That's got to be a cool accomplishment in his life, too. I know playing Mizzou probably wasn't all that fun, because you got the Tiger board Probably up his ass every single second that he was there. Probably got shit sent to him on Twitter all the time. Probably was just a whole ordeal. Probably gets it now playing in LA also. But a question I posed, I think it was Kylie. Might have been Kendall. Maybe it's Kendall that's with her. But what if Caitlyn got involved? Would that be an MMF or MFF? It's a question to think about. I mean, it's a really hard decision, and not that I shouldn't be putting families together, but it's really hard, you know. Porn is really big on mom, daughter, porn, but would it be father? See, I mean, there's just so many questions. I mean, it's got me confused. And hopefully that doesn't happen for Jordan. Or, you know, she wants to get Caitlyn involved, whatever he wants to be called these days. But it's just kind of funny. Just that was my funny question. UFC, and how about, we're just going to clutch on this, Miesha Tate not giving Holly Holm the rematch. Hey, if you're the champion, you think you maybe can be beat by Holly Holm, or even though she said she can submit him quicker. Or maybe you could beat this next opponent, then you go back, right, Holly Holm, or maybe you take the title to Ronda, just say, hey, I got the title now, let's see what we can do now. Maybe that's the way she rolls. And hey, get as much exposure as you can with that title. That's to make you money. And I'm down for that. Don't give her the rematch of the battle. Let me get this extra championship fight in. And let me see what Ronda's doing later on so I can get that rematch with the title on my shoulders now. Maybe Miesha figures something out. Maybe she's seen something in the Holly Holm match with Ronda. That's why she got something against Holly Holm. You never know. How about them Rams, boy? No, I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but hey, they traded for the first round pick today for 4 quarterbacks that aren't anybody that anybody knows about. They gave up a haul, too. 2nd round pick, 3rd round pick. I think there were some extra picks thrown in. I think 2 more 3rd rounders. Somehow they ended up with 3 3rd rounders this year. And then next year, the first, it's 3rd round pick. For a quarterback that you don't know what they're going to do, you don't have that Andrew Luck out there. You don't have that, at the time, RG3. You don't have that Peyton Manning. You don't even have an Eli Manning. You have a bunch of nobodies that you don't know what they're going to do in the NFL, and you went and took a haul for them. And it's just funny that Rick Vittori said it best when he said, "Take a look, get a load of this operation. Wait till they get a load of this operation." And someone even said something funny on today on Twitter. Jeff Fisher's finally going to bring a winning franchise to Tennessee. I mean, they just do things out of order. And then another question was posed: are they going to win more games trying to win in LA, or did they win more games here trying to lose? And it's going to be funny to see if they go out there and pull a 7-9, a 6-10, and yet they were getting 7-8s and 8-8s here. Because you already know that they don't have the protection if they're going to go out and get a franchise quarterback. I mean, they also are in love with linemen, so you never know what they really wouldn't got their 1st round pick for. I mean, Greg Robinson's still not anywhere where you want him to be. Halverstein played good, but he's still a rookie. You got other rookies that you're relying on, Jamon Brown. I mean, it's a bunch of ragtag linemen, definitely the one that you drafted with a 2nd pick that you want to do. And you're going to get a quarterback and then hope that he can throw when you're not trying to run the ball with no pass protection. And you're hoping you're going to find that quarterback, and you gave all your top picks away. Kind of ridiculous. And while St. Louis County is messing with their former home, they want some renovations to the dome so they can lease it out and do hold events. They need to be the revamped. As I told you last time I was on here, you could have revamped it and been making money off it from a football team, making taxes off it from a football team. But no, we're gonna spend. And they didn't give a price this time. They basically held that away. The funniest thing they said is, we're gonna get this money has to come from somewhere. So we gotta go out there and get all the logistics. So that money that comes from somewhere means it's coming from us. And we're not going to get another. Well, we'll get probably a choice. Probably have to vote on it. Probably will somehow pass because it's not like the voting registration is all that tight. And we'll be playing for nothing. And we'll be ramping this practice field up to in something like 5 years. I can't. 2024. So 8 years. We could not even have. But we're going to try to lease it out now because there's so many people that want it. Being right next to a landfill and all. But I mean, we're going to pay for it, even though, when you wanted that 500,000 or that 700,000 from the arbitrator. We don't think to ask you to pay for it then, but now when we want to do things with it and try to make money off it and things like that, now we're going to say, hey, we need help because we got to find the money somewhere. This is how they work. I mean, I'm driving down the road to my work, and I see municipalities with 400 or 500 people in them, which means these municipalities have elected leaders, which means they're also paying salaries for most likely cops or some kind of tax subsidy to the North County police department or St. Louis County or something like that. You're begging us for money all the time. You got rid of some of these people that make pretty good money to debate all. That house fell down the street, so it fell down because it got caught on fire. So we go clean it up. No, we'll just pay for the owner to do it. Oh, okay. No, let's go have lunch. Let's go spend the taxpayers' money because there's nothing else they could be doing. But you see some. Maybe you drive down Lucas and Hunt, there's like 5 between there and the Rock Road. You drive down the Rock Road. You drive down Page. And you're just thinking, what are we really paying for all this? You're always begging us for money, yet all our money's going to the people that are begging us for money. But they want more. And this is why they can't figure it out. That's why they can't figure out how to make money off the zoo. I'm not saying it should be a big. You're saying if you charge a family, let's just say 50 cents a person to go in, you saw how many people wouldn't pay for that kind of stuff? But no, I want to bring the tax of the St. Charles and Franklin and all that. Because they got so many people that they're paying that they don't have the money anymore. Because they're paying the people that are begging for St. Charles to bring them money. And I have no problem. Bring the tax to me and I'll pay it for the zoo. I go there once or twice a year. Good enough for me. Keep it free. I'll find my free parking spot and walk. And we'll give them their $10. Who cares? But I'll give them the $10. They, like, bunch some of these things together and have these big boards that they have in some of these places, 10 people on it. Debate something in like an extra $450 town or 450 person town. But that just put it in your town. It's just an extra section. But no, we can't have that. That's just too many people in one place. We get like a city like Breckenridge is trying to figure out some things how to merge with St. Anne and try to make more money. And I think they got 4,000 or 6,000 people over there. You see how it doesn't make sense that they're always begging us for money and then yet we're paying them all this money and yet they're still begging us for money? Just doesn't make sense. All right, let's move on. We'll move on to the last part of the show. And Trump had some fun, as usual. So this is what he said when he was in Missouri.
teams. Those college teams are good, huh? What are you going to do this year? I think pretty good stuff, huh? Came from nowhere. I'll tell you what, good. Maybe I'll have to get, you vote a big one for me, I'm coming to one of those games, okay?
No, this is what our friend Donald Trump.
Are we going to bring that back? Right? How about that whole
Joe Paterno.
How about that whole deal? And we do love Penn State. Do we love Penn State? I mean, in all fairness, we love Penn State, but we love Pittsburgh, right?
I mean, them people are supposed to have like people that tell them what to do. Yet nobody can figure it out. Or I said nobody can figure it out. Nobody can figure out how to tell him to stop doing these kinds of things. You come to me there, you're talking about football team, we just lost our football team and our college team sucked, and we have a big problem with protests over our football team. And now you're talking about a guy that some people think inhabited, I guess, a pedophile, which I don't think, and I don't want to get into that subject. It's not a subject that I really care about one way or another. If the bad things were happening, they're stopped. Shouldn't be blamed on a man that didn't do it, but okay. But he needs somebody to tell him to shut up once in a while. He just says the dumbest things to people. How's your football teams in Missouri? Oh, how's Joe Paterno? That guy, dead. And had to live the last year in shame because of something that could not be true. So it's just how things work in life, and Trump has the most fun with all of it. Alright, we're no news. A Des Moines principal has decided not to punish the ninth grade girls who arranged for a male stripper to perform at their high school synchronized swimming club banquet. Officials say the girls employed the stripper as a joke, and that the stripper did not totally disrobe at Friday's evening's event at the Des Moines Social Club. A club employee interrupted the performance and asked the stripper to leave. Roosevelt High School principal Kevin Biggs said Wednesday that the girls didn't do anything illegal and didn't violate district code. The club has been operating outside of the district's supervision, with members raising family and all the money to support it. But Briggs says the district plans to place the club and its finances under the control of school activities department. So, when I went to Pattonville, they didn't pay for hockey. You had to raise that money for yourself. They did fundraisers and all that for you to have a hockey team. So if they still do that, hire a stripper and they'll give you money. But it's kind of fun. I mean, the ninth grade girls thought that's crazy. But it worked an advantage for them. Where hey, we don't have to do all the fundraising now. They're actually going to help us out a little bit. All right. That was from STL Today. For Fox2Now.com, could the new urban take on cow tipping been found? Rideshare company Car2Go has had three smart cars they own tipped over on its sides in the last week. A Car2Go car was tipped over in Seattle's Greenwood neighborhood, while police in Denver are investigating 5 smart car tipping incidents. At least 2 of them belong to the service Car2Go. A spokesman for the company had said they have 750 smart cars on the road in Seattle and more than 75,000 members in the city alone. The company insists car tipping is not a trend. That's what you don't do. You don't insist it is, because then it will become one. A Car2Go spokesperson says that they are working closely with authorities, and their main priority is to get these cars repaired and back on the road. The company also says that the cars to repair the damage will not have reflect on their customers. If you do rent a car and it is tipped over, call the company and they say they will offer a solution. So people are really going out over there and tipping smart cars. Like, how poor do you have to be? I'm going to go tip that car. I mean, I guess it could just be for fun. And hey, I guess you don't have to pay for it. So instead of knocking over trash cans, you can go over and tip cars. All right, from KMOV.com, a Pennsylvania man set up a fake checkpoint only to be charged with drunk driving himself. The Somerset Daily American says 20-year-old Logan Shawless, per police, used a flashing blue bar light and parked diagonally across State Route 60 and set up road flares about 4 miles on May 30th. The motorist who stopped says Chavez claimed he was a trooper with the Drug and Alcohol Division and demanded to see her identification. When police arrived, Chavez tried to hand a BB gun to his car's passenger and said he couldn't get caught with it. He pleaded guilty to drunken driving, possession of instruments of crime, and impersonating a public servant. Yeah, impersonating a cop is the smart way to go. My friend did it one time. We looked it up, and that's felony stuff. That's stuff like prison stuff. And yeah, don't mess with that. All right, from STL today, a man who allegedly had a Home Depot store cut pieces of pipe that could accommodate bombs was charged Thursday after police found 25 of gunpowder in his motel room. Donald Hurd, 44, was named in St. Louis County Circuit Court on one count of unlawful possession, transport, manufacturing, repair, sale of an illegal weapon. Police were called and arrested her at the store after he bought 1 1/4 inch pipe at the Home Depot and asked if they could cut it into sections and threatened for end caps. Investigators obtained a search warrant Wednesday for room 302 of his hotel on St. Charles Rock Road and found materials of construction and pipe bomb, including 25 pounds of gunpowder, 9 pipe end caps, and fuse wires, the documents say. Hurd was held in St. Louis County Jail in Clayton with a cash-only bond set at $250,000. Now, what was he going to blow up? That's what I want to know. I want somebody to tell me what he was going to blow up. That scares me. I mean, I wouldn't find the address. I wouldn't know exactly where it's at. But I'm actually working like right down the street at the Rock Road lately. Like, I wonder if he had beef with the hotel, was going to blow up the hotel, or they said he lived in Illinois, so maybe he had some problems in Illinois. But it's kind of scary that, people know how to make pipe bombs at Home Depot. I was kind of scared to go into Home Depot. Alright, for the end of the show, still weird news. Kind of. I was sitting at home the other day watching Fox 2. And this is all about me, of course. And they were showing something about you could get a surgery to inject things to stop you from having sperm to produce babies. You could turn them off and on with a switch. Now the problem is, and I'm all down for that. I wish they would have that, and I would edit it off all the time. But they put it on 2 sides. Now I got a vasectomy. I got 2 kids, so I'm cool. But when they cut me, they only did it on 1 side. Now my worry is in the long run, does this stop it, or does this other side like pop out of nowhere and say, "Hi, I'm here"? Wah. That's what I would like to know. And like the doctors didn't say anything like that. And like doctors call in, tweet me, and help me figure this out, because it's a little scary, because I'm cool with 2 kids. But if I have a 3rd kid, and really honestly a 4th kid, because there's a step kid that runs around here too. It'd be I would go to my job every day, and I would work and take my paycheck, and I would just bring it to my wife, and I would just go live in the woods. That's the best way for me to roll with that. I'm cool with the 2, 3, 4 might be a little rough. Basically 4. But I'm worried, like, is this pop? Because I've heard people having babies like 3, 4 years later after they get a second. This is like pop out 3, 4 years later. Like, do I need to go? Just for safety precautions, go get the other side cut too. There's not many doctors that I know that could tell me the situation. It worries me a little bit. But it's crazy they could also come up with something like that, where they could stop at any time. You can do whatever you want. You push the little garage door opener and boom. You're ready to make it. Boom, turn it off. You're ready to go party. But then I see it now, I'm scared, because now I don't know what they fixed on me. If they fixed both sides or just the one side that was they for sure thought was the run good. That's the kind of things that worry me. Like having more kids. Or like losing my football team. But I can get over that. Blues playoffs right now. Cardinals baseball. It's almost like a full season because by the time Cardinals get around to work, get close to the playoffs, the Blues are back. So it's kind of easy just to follow the two teams. Now you don't have to. There's things to do on Sunday when the Reds are playing. Go out, go have a walk. It's still fall when they start. Maybe it snows this winter real good. You don't have to worry about football. All Sundays to play in the snow. But yeah, still worried about that. Just thinking. In a few years, just come on over. All right, that's gonna do it. For my mom and dad, for both my grandmas, for Amanda, for Joe, for Zach, for Maddie, for Jake. I'm Robert Bowlesby, and this has been the Sports Blog on the Greater STL Sports Network.